Gumshoes. Okay, so I was listening to some NBA news. I was trying to figure something out. The whole thing with Kawhi Leonard, right? All right, bust this kid out. What, $20 million contract? He's obviously he's not going to stay with the Spurs, right? He's leaving. He's like, I'm done. So now the Spurs are like, okay, what can we get for him? So they're trying to look at Boston to get some Terry Rozier action. And I'm like, Terry Rozier and Kawhi Leonard are not even close to being equal. So you'd have to get more than Terry Rozier. And the only reason why Terry Rozier is even mentioned is simply because of they went to the playoffs and he was the man in the playoffs because the two biggest players for the Boston Celtics weren't playing. They were both hurt, which were Hayward and, of course, best point guard in the whole doggone league, Kyrie Irving. Now, one thing that really surprised me, Kawhi Leonard doesn't have anybody doing his contracts for him. He doesn't have an agent. So the teams that want him, which are the Lakers and the Boston Celtics, they don't know what he's going to do because they're not talking to him personally. So they might have to do a Popovich and show up at his front door. You know, ask some of his family and friends, hey, what do you think Kawhi's going to do? This is not a good thing for Kawhi. Now, we saw recently in football that having an agent can hurt you a little bit financially. And we're talking about Richard Sherman. You know, he lost a couple coins because he negotiated his own deal. He didn't want an agent. Now, supposedly, if you don't want an agent and you negotiate a deal without an agent, you're doing that to save money. But an agent is there for a reason. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking is going to happen. I'm thinking there's going to be like a Jay-Z to come out of nowhere and then all of a sudden become Kawhi's agent or something like that. And then some ridiculous contract is going to go flying around the West Coast. Another thing is, I don't think he has a chance of coming to Boston. I just don't even think it's even close that he's going to come to Boston. I don't think so. I think he's going to go to LA and it's going to be a one and done. Excuse me. It's going to be a one and one. So he's going to do like Braun is doing and have a 1 year contract and maxing out on each of his contracts to his fullest. And if I was any team, I would not try to take a 4 or 5 year contract with Kawhi Leonard. He has shown me that that is a bad deal to do. If you do that, he's going to sit out either all of the season on one of those contracts or most of the season. He's just not going to show up. He's not going to call you. He's not going to talk to you. And you're going to have to go to his house to find this dude. And that's just a bad, like, no, 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 no. You're not, we're not doing that like the dude from Chicago did. We're not doing that. So, I mean, this whole thing is just getting, it's a big old play. it's a it's a big old play, man. I'm just like, what are you guys gonna like? Come on, man. Like, stop playing with the people. We know that Kawhi Leonard is going to go to LA. Maybe he needs to go to OKC. Maybe Paul George is going to pull out a OKC and go to the Lakers, or maybe they both might go to the Lakers. Who knows? So that's just what I had to say about it. I just think this whole thing is crazy. But him not having an agent is more interesting than where he's going. And I just think that, I mean, he's like, what, the number 3 or 4? The fourth player in the league, and he doesn't have an agent. I think we're going to see somebody who just made up an agency just dip into just go to Kawhi like, yo, I want to be your agent, and he takes it. Or he might try to negotiate his own contract. Now, with that being said, I think that this is, with the whole kneeling for the national anthem and all of this, and the way these owners of basketball and football have been treating. Basketball has been doing pretty good, but football has been treating their players not so good, and with the president getting involved and everything. What I think is a lot of players are starting to realize that they need to be more independent. And I think that's going to trickle over into basketball. I'm not saying Kawhi's going to do this. I'm saying that this is something that people have noticed, especially the players, because a large part, I think like 1/3 of their contract goes to, not 1/3, I think a tenth of it goes to, I don't know how that goes. And then almost half in taxes, they get cut out. So if you have a $5 million or a $10 million contract, half of it you're actually dealing with in liquid. And that's just the facts, Jack. So I think they're trying to find ways to keep that money. And I think players are also trying to find ways to stretch their money. Keep your money, stretch your money. I think you're gonna, I also think you're gonna start seeing, a lot of these ballers go out and get these chains and cars. I think you're gonna stop seeing that. I think you're gonna stop seeing that. I think it's gonna slow down. Not unless, of course, they're superstars, but even superstars, I think there's going to be a whole shift in finances. But that's another subject. Anyway, it's your boy Tone 202. Just want to know what you guys thought of that. I'm out. Peace.